Welcome to Automation in AI Express channel. Today we will cover very exciting feature in UiPath Studio, which is Data Manager. So let's start with the use of Data Manager feature. Why UiPath has introduced that? So if you see UiPath Studio previously, we have a separate tabs for all the data variables or arguments we are using or any queues or any assets we are using, we need to go to the different places at different tabs. And over there, we have that information, we need to modify that. But this time, UiPath has come up with one consolidated one-stop solution for all of them, which is Data Manager. So you can see this type of tab inside UiPath Studio, which is called Data Manager, and it is listing down all different categories of the data types used within the automation, as well as some of the other features like assets, like queues, like connections, like namespace, like processes, all of which we are using. They're showing it at one consolidated place. You can play with it during your automation journey and use it. So that is why they introduced a data manager feature with this new version. One another very good feature which they come up with is data manager is using a different sorting and filtering options which will help increase productivity of any RPA developer. So you can see this menu here in the top. So this menu has a different options. For example, if you want to create a variable, you can directly create it from here using this add variable option. You can create argument, you can create constants, you can have a Excel sheet incorporate here, and one time you can read your Excel and use it throughout your automation journey. You have feature to expand and collapse all of the variables and different properties listed here. You have a refresh button which you can use to refresh some of the runtime assets created or queue created or some variable created. You have one more option here called a group by scope. So if you click on this button, then it will consolidate all the variables or the argument, all different data types by its scopes. So for example, here if you can see like these four variables are available for the main scope, this one variable is available for the first sequence, and this another variable is only available for the second sequence. So you can have this tree view as well and clear segregation between its scope. You have another feature called a sync with active scope. So when you have a large project and you're working on different sequences and different workflows, and you just want to see a variables which is currently active uh, currently active workflows, variables, or say, all or the arguments or the other properties, then you can use this button and see that. Another option is the short sections element. So here you have a different type of like variables, and those variables have a different alphabetical orders. And if you use this option and like for example sort by A to Z, then it will sort out all the variable names by A to Z in ascending and descending orders, in A to Z and Z to sequences. And also you have last option, which option will use to filter out different categories which you are interested in. For example, I'm only interested in arguments or variables, then you can uncheck different other categories, and those categories is disappear from the data manager. This feature is very useful when you have a very huge project, you have a very big number of variables and arguments, and where you expand and collapse, you can see a big list over here. So in that case, you will only filter out this whole list by only interested items. So this type of some of the very good operations UiPath come up with, which will use to manage all the variables within Data Manager. One another exciting feature which will very much useful for different automations is support of the Excel reading within Data Manager. So if you see here, there is one option um, called connect to a new workbook file. So using this option, you can give your Excel sheet and that Excel sheet scope, and then that Excel sheet is a runtime on the fly read by the data manager, and it will create one variable for that, and that variable you can use across your automation for different purposes. So when you have a, for example, large Excel sheet with, like, for example, 10,000 records, then you can use this feature, create its scope once, and you can use it throughout your automation journey. Or you have, for example, multiple sheets you're dealing with, then you can read all of them at one go here, and then you can use it across your automation journey whenever it's needed. We will create one separate video for this feature, but for information purpose right now, we can at least remember that point. So this is very exciting feature you have had come up with the data manager. And another last important feature is a constants and a global variables creation. So constant and global variable creation is new thing which is introduced in the uh, UiPath's latest version. So whenever we create any variable here in UiPath, so previously we have data type and scope, but here along with scope we have one more option called a global. And when you mark any variable as a global, then this variable's value is available across different workflows. So there is no need to pass them as an argument or something, but whenever you use this global, you can or use the value across different sequences, different workflows. There is no scope limit. Only thing is, once you create a variable as a global, you cannot rename it, you cannot change its scope later on. Only you can change its default value from this data manager tab. And one interesting thing is you cannot create a global variable from here in the um, existing conventional variable panel that is only available here in data manager. Also, UiPath has introduced a constant type of variable. So constant variable is its value when we create, then that value is constant across different workflows. So if you create any variable as a constant, then you cannot change its value uh, across workflows. So you cannot like use assign activity anywhere in any workflows and can assign a value in it. Only you can create that variable and use this default value option here and assign a constant value over here. So this constant and global variable is a new creation within a data manager. So that way you have this come up with very good new feature called data manager, which will increase productivity of all the developers, and it will very much useful while we are developing any automation. Thanks for watching this video, and in coming video we will go in detail of each and every of this feature with practical demonstration. So keep watching this channel and do subscribe. Thank you so much.